breaking news, a new box office monarch, and trailers galore. This and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Screen. I'll be your host today. My name is Ryan. This is Jake Holtzclaw, and believe it or not, we're in the same room and you can see us. We're not just faking it. We're actually friends who actually hang out and actually sometimes record together.
Yeah, we weren't lying.
Yeah. We genuinely recorded together. If you couldn't tell from our audio quality, immediately taking a dip when we left our audio platform. That's okay though. So Jake, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. If you're on Spotify, go ahead and give the video a quick look, and then you can put it away while you're driving or whatever. But if you're on YouTube, you already know what we look like.
The video is a little deceptive because just taking a peek, it looks like I'm a little bit bigger than Jake. It looks like I'm a big old guy. Jake is actually taller than I am.
I like to give him that false sense, right?
Yeah, that's why we set up this way so that he could give my ego a pat on the back. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So we're going to start the show a little differently. We have some breaking news, and when I say breaking news, I mean this happened like 4 hours ago, but it was breaking news enough that when I was writing the script, I was typing away as fast as my little fingers could go. Awesome. So we're starting the show with the Academy. They're announcing some changes to how things are just operating in the Oscars space. So the Academy announces that all members must watch all nominated movies in each category to be eligible to vote at the Oscars. Whoa!
Dude, is that not what we've been talking about?
No way!
That's crazy.
I'm just, like, I think the reason that this is like why I was so like this has to be in, and the reason we're starting with it is because like why wasn't this a thing to begin with?
Yeah, this should have been from the get. Like this,
it's ridiculous.
It's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what could have possibly spurred this. I mean, this is not the first, the fifth, or the 10th Academy Awards. We're up there, right?
Yeah, right.
It took this long, and I mean, I know that there was some outcry on social media at the very least. Is like when it came out that they didn't watch. What didn't a lot of people watch?
There was it wasn't Conclave, but it was because people had just said the Brutalist will win. And I think the bigger problem wasn't so much that they weren't watching. It was they weren't watching and they were still picking Adrian Brody over Ray Fiennes.
Yeah.
They had said Ray Fiennes hasn't won one and Adrian Brody has.
Yeah, well, but guess what?
Yeah.
Or no, it was the other way
reverse.
around.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. It was Adrian Brody hasn't won one and Ray Fiennes has. But the thing is it was the exact opposite. That's why I got him confused.
Yes.
So it's just, So anyway, we're here now, and thank you, the Academy, for doing something that should have been in your thing like 100 years ago. I think we're at like the 90-something Oscars, yeah. So other details, because that wasn't the only thing that they decided that they were going to make a change to. In the international film category, filmmakers with asylum or refugee status can now be represented by a country not of their own. I don't know if that means that they can choose where they want to be represented by, or if it's like if you're a refugee, it's where you are being held, like you're getting asylum from, right? So it might be that kind of thing where it's like if you come to the United States, if you go to the UK, you get that kind of like that's the country that you can claim your origin from or be representing. And then the other news, the bigger note, at least, and that's huge and that's fantastic. But the other note in terms of the show and why it's bigger for us is because we've had countless hours dedicated to this conversation, both on and off the podcast. So the Academy finally took a stance on AI. And it's an interesting one because it's not one I would have suspected. So from the Academy themselves, this is via, I think it was Vulture. I don't remember. I didn't put the link on there. That's my bad. But from the Academy themselves, quote, neither help nor harm the chances of a nomination if you use AI. So AI, regardless of if you used it or if you didn't, you're still going to get nominated.
Okay.
What's interesting to me is the next set of quotes. It's in continuing from what they were saying. I think it might have been Variety, actually, not Vulture. The Academy in each branch will judge the achievement, taking into account the degree to which a human was at the heart of the creative authorship when choosing which movie to award. So essentially, the way I read that is, you can still get nominated. You know, you can make a great film and you might get nominated, which is, in a lot of ways, that's enough. If you're an Oscar-nominated film, you don't need, like, the award is just the icing on the cake, right?
Yeah.
But it sounds to me it's like, yes, you can get nominated, but you might not win. And that might be why you might not win. Is an AI-generated script, an AI, like, assisted performance might be the thing that knocks you out of the winner circle, but that will not stop you from getting nominated.
So at this point, it raises the question: is there now going to be a point system? Because taking into account the degree to which a human was at the heart of the creative, I I have a hard time, and we've talked about this before. How do you choose an award? If it didn't check off all the boxes, why the heck is it nominated, and why the heck should it win when the other guy did? Like, what are those check boxes? We don't know any of this. It's just what people feel. And yes, there's a level of subjectivity, and you can choose, and it's all opinion based and things like that. And it's voting, democracy. What does it mean, taking into the account the degree, like what is the degree of the brutalist comparative to Amelia Perez?
Yeah.
What are those two degrees? Because some people are okay with one and not okay with the other, or not okay with either. And so obviously they are at different degrees because they were used somewhat similarly, but not.
Yeah.
It just raises more questions for me. It's like, it's very interesting that they're gonna allow the nominations, but then say that there's also, you have to, I don't know, watch how much you use it. And so I don't know if it's just a cautionary, hey, this is something we're going to be watching for. And it's one of those Big Brother, don't do it, we're always watching. Even though you may not know when they're watching, they're watching, I guess, is kind of like it's like, hey, we're now looking for this, and you might lose an award if you use it. And it's more of a deterrent than anything.
I actually think that this is a ripple effect of, like, the Academy had to take a stance, right? Like this, at the end of the day, the Academy had to say, here's a decision. And I think the bigger, like, for me, the ripple effect is them saying you can still get nominated, because that means you could still be recognized, and you could still be again, to be nominated is an achievement in and of itself. Yeah. So the fact that you can get nominated and you can get that badge on that film for the rest of time, this is an Academy Award nominee. Right. That's a big deal, regardless of if you used AI or not. I think that this goes back to something that we had talked about, and I don't want to harp on it too long, because those who are regular listeners know exactly what I'm going to be referring to. We've discussed the idea, and like, when looking forward, kind of predicting how things will go, the idea of, like, the stance of the film purist. That's what will happen. Yeah. Is the Academy will take the stance of the film purist, as we've talked about. And at the end of the day, the difference between, and this is a perfect example, and you brought it up, it's The Brutalist versus Amelia Perez. And this is exactly why The Brutalist won the awards it did, and why Amelia Perez didn't win the awards it did, is because Amelia Perez, as the point that we've been making, Amelia Perez, the AI benefited, or I should say it like this, the actresses and the performers were benefiting from the AI, versus in The Brutalist, it was little details that you would never notice. Yeah. It was used, as we described before, one is a tool and the other is making.
Yeah. Well, I would say that those who can speak fluent, what is it? Ukrainian, Hungarian, they would notice.
Well, yes, of course.
Especially if they hadn't used AI, they would have definitely noticed. So the Hungarian native speakers, but I don't know. I keep thinking about it, and I might flip flop. They're very similar in what they did, but I mean, one is singing and the other one is more accent, but it's still within the grounds of changing vocal at the end of the day. And so it's I just wonder, what is that degree? Yeah. What are those degrees? Like, if it's a 0 to 100 degree Fahrenheit, I'm saying, what degree is The Brutalist? And Amelia Perez, and I would say, it's like, I don't think it's that bad. Like, I'm saying it's like a 20 degree Fahrenheit out of 100. But
yeah, there's enough subjectivity, because they're both doing with vocals. I think that's where, like, it's so tough, is because, but in my mind, again, like, I will play the distinction, and I actually like the idea of a film purist stance, in the sense of, like, if you're trying to decide between who wins what award. And that'll help. Yeah, that is how you set, because at the end of the day, that's another discussion we've had is and it was specifically back when we had our Oscars episode, we discussed what made Flow beat the
Wild Robot.
The Wild Robot, thank you. And at the end of the day, we had discussed how we felt like the Academy had moved goalposts, because if you're going to award Best Animated Feature off of story, The Wild Robot was the definitive winner. But if you're going to do it based off of like what goes into the production, right? And like kind of like what, because the idea is that like Flow was made by like one man on Blender, which for those of you who don't know what Blender is, it's a open software, free to use, like on any device that can run it. Animation like machine, like anybody can download it. It's a software that you can use right now, a lot like if you're a video editor like Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. If you're not like a video editor, like think of the games you download.
It's a 3D renderer as well, so you can make video games from it and create and 3D characters and stuff like that.
And so it's massively impressive that he was able to do that and to get to that stage and tell as good of a story as he did, because Flow is amazing, right? But it's not better than the Wild Robot.
I didn't walk away from Flow like I did from Wild Robot. Like I had felt the sense of family and the sacrifice and the awesome ending, the reuniting. So like I walked away with the heartfelt touch, right? Whereas Flow, it was, I mean, I'm not gonna say it was a bad story. It was just like the ending, like I don't know. It just, yes, they survived, I guess. Spoiler alert: they didn't kill any animals on screen.
No, I think you're right. And I huff because more or less we're going over things we've already talked about.
This is the tiebreaker, I suppose.
And so to move forward off of conversations we've had and to not bore our regular listeners, the idea here is that we had talked long about how the Academy needs to set standards that they stick to. And I think that this is them doing that for AI. Now, should they do that for everything else? Of course. But I do like the idea that, like, hey, here's the standards. You can still accomplish something massively impressive, and we will still recognize it. But you will not be awarded for it if it's not human. And I think that's a fine stance. I don't think that's bad. Now, this is where there is kind of a line to it, to where it's like, if you used any AI, it's a competition to see who uses less. And the film that uses the least, even if it's not the best film, wins that award. That's where you have, like, the definitive, like, okay, this is too much. But like as long as it's what they've described it in this moment, where it's like, hey, you can be nominated, you just might not win awards for it if there's like no air of human in it. Completely fine.
I think, and I'll leave you with this. This stance on AI, that they made a statement that this is how it's going to be, is probably the most, I guess, loose stand you can take, because it was basically, I am only seeing one, and I call them like action items here, or one thing that is set in stone is, if you use AI, you can still be nominated, period. That is technically a rule I would put in a bylaw. However, the rest of it, judging achievement and taking into an account the degree at which a human was involved, that's silly, like flying in the wind, would not hold up in court, you know, like it's not a statement. And so I find that to be fence city, sitting on the fence on that topic.
Too subjective.
Too subjective. It's way too either or, but to confirm, it's definitely, you can still be nominated if you use AI. And that was a stance that we were looking for. I wasn't really hoping for either or, but we were looking for a stance, and they made one, and I'm glad they did. Let's just, I'm going to ask them to take down that subjectivity, but I know they won't, because it's the Oscars and that's what they want.
They have to have enough room to move those goalposts.
Every year.
And I think that's a great place to leave off. So now, 15 minutes into the show, we're going to get into our first segment.
We always do this.
Which is always, we should just have like a 4 segments, and the first segment being talking
Quick
about whatever.
Hits part 1.
So anyway, moving into our actual first segment, as always, is box office numbers. What a great 3 weeks for cinema. Following a Minecraft movie. Number 1 this week is not a Minecraft movie. It's Ryan Coogler's Sinners, an original horror flick that is based in the 1930s, and it is a vampire film, which is fantastic. I actually went and saw it yesterday.
Did you?
And it is. I will not be spoiling, because obviously it just came out 3 days ago. It might be my early pick for film of the year. Like it's genuinely that good.
You think it'll be nominated? And
the fact that it's more of a thriller, so that might go for it. But the fact that it's got that horror tab on it, I don't know. Like
Yeah,
the substance got nominated, so maybe we'll see something, but it doesn't. I'm gonna go back into the numbers, but we'll talk about this here in a
Okay.
second. So in its opening weekend, it made 45.6 million domestically and 15.1 million internationally for a 61 million global tally. With a production budget of 90 million, the film still needs to make over 170 million in total to break even, and that's after marketing because 90 million was production. About another 80 was made for distribution and marketing and stuff. So it still got some room to go, but to make 90 million or not 90 million, excuse me, 61 million in its opening weekend is a fantastic mark. It opened at just over 3,000, over 3,300 theaters, I should say, excuse me. This is the highest grossing domestic IMAX opening ever for a horror film. That's a massive feat. Not only, I should say, did Sinners upend Minecraft. Not only is it the highest grossing IMAX opening ever for a horror film, it is also the highest grossing original film since 2019. So of this decade, it is the best original film in terms of numbers, in terms of budget numbers, in terms of making back money we've seen so far.
So what is an original film? What are the parameters for that?
Something not based off of like a comic book or a book, not an adapted work, not a sequel, not like all those lines. So this is like the script is from the mind of Ryan Coogler.
Okay.
The story is 100% original. There is nothing in it that is like taking inspiration from. There's nothing in it as far as I know.
Gotcha. This is a full new world thought up by Coogler.
Yes. Yeah. So it is a 100% original film.
Okay.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And you said when was the last one?
2019. You'll notice like and that's something that like in especially the past few weeks too is everyone bases the numbers off of 2019. 2019 was the last regular year for film.
Yeah.
Obvious reasons, right? What happened the year after. So everyone is basing everything off of 2019. Like from how is 2025 doing in terms of domestic numbers compared to 2019? They will do that until the numbers get back to that, right?
Yeah.
But
if they ever will.
But this is a huge year, and this is so far the biggest original film of the decade.
Yeah.
Which is insane. The film currently sits at a 98% on the tomato meter, an 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and an astonishing A from the cinema score, which is the audience.
It's awesome.
That's ridiculous.
It sounds like you get a 98% on tomato meter and it's been out for a while. That's pretty darn good.
It sat at 100 for a long time.
The marketing of it looked awesome. The ads on social media, because you've got Steinfeld, Haley. You got Haley Steinfeld in there. People love her just because girl. And then you've got the other side, Michael B. Jordan. People love him because he's boy, you know. So
it is so I'll go ahead and read the synopsis for those who haven't seen it yet. So from IMDb, the synopsis is, quote, trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. That's a little bit misleading because the main character is not Michael B. Jordan.
It's not.
Nope.
I was under the impression that it was the twins.
They are like two of the main characters, but the main character, his in like story name is Sam, but his nickname is Preacher Boy because he's the son of a pastor.
Okay.
The actor's name is Miles Caton or Caton. It's Caton. This is his first role.
Awesome.
And he nails it.
Cool.
So the story follows, and again, I'm not going to go too deep into it. I'm going to give some critiques afterwards because the story is perfect. It's the marketing that made me mad. And I'll get to that here in a second. But the story follows. Michael B. Jordan plays two characters, twin brothers, Smoke and Stack, and they're the Smokestack brothers, right? That's like their like crime name. They moved to Chicago to be part of like a crime boss, like I think Al Capone's like crime family, and they make all this money, and they decide to move back to their hometown in Mississippi. And when they get down there, they run into their cousin, or they find their cousin. His name is Sam. They call him Preacher Boy. When they get down to Mississippi, they buy this old barn from this white dude. And the idea is that they're going to turn it into, and I cannot remember the name. I think they didn't call it a jukebox, but they called it something similar to that. They wanted to make it just a club. Yeah. So they get music, they get whatever. So before the story begins, before you learn any of this, there's like a lore that's described about like how certain people are so in tune with music that they can connect to their ancestors and to their descendants. So it's like they're so powerful with their art that they can bring all these different generations together into one moment. It's a very powerful thing. And so we go into the story. We see the twins trying to make this club. and they bring in Preacher Boy. They bring in all these different people, and Preacher Boy is a fantastic blues player. He has a guitar that the twins gave him years ago. He got fantastic at it. He learned how to sing, and they're like, Sam, we want you to sing. And they go and get another guy who's like I guess like a local legend who can play. He's like a musician, and they go about their day. So Haley Steinfeld is I think her character's name is Mary. She is the love interest to obviously one of the Michael B. Jordans. His name is Stack.
Yeah.
And then Smoke is the other twin, and he has his another love interest. I cannot think of her name in this moment, but each character is so vital and important. So the way that the story goes, and just to give a quick, just like whatever, because I won't go too deep into it. Sam obviously plays at the club, and his music is so powerful that he attracts vampires. And these vampires, I know that sounds like really like kind of cringy at first.
Out of the blue, kind of like, he's so good that in this perfect story of is like, oh yeah, by the way, music attracts vampires, and it's like a sea bear level.
Sea bear.
Yeah. So SpongeBob level sea bear is like, wait.
Yes.
You can't wear the sombrero,
dude. You don't. It genuinely is like that until the stories click, and you're like, oh my god.
Okay.
So it's like it's so cool because like the idea is that like, and this isn't really a spoiler because this is just a really broad description of how things work. It doesn't show it like what they're doing. So vampires, they feed more on your memories and your experiences and your culture and your past and your history than they do blood.
Okay.
They just absorb that through blood.
Okay.
And so it's like, imagine like, kind of like a hive mind type. Yeah. And so that is why when you have these individuals who are just so it's borderline magical.
Yeah.
Like their ability to connect through music through like and there's one scene in particular where if you go and see it, and if you have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's where that's like a culmination of that, and it is beautiful. And that's of course right after that scene the vampires show up, and there are lines that are just like, I want your memories, I want your feelings, I want your history. And it's just like, and it's just so like it's interesting, right? And there's even more with the cultures because the head vampire himself is Irish, and the Irish back in the day, this is set in the 1930s. The Irish back in the day were treated a lot like African Americans and the black community was treated back in the day. Obviously not to the same extent, but that is like a purposeful connection that is made in the story. And so it is so brilliant. And if it sounds like I'm spoiling it, I'm not. That is just details surrounding the main story that I've not even touched, right? Like,
awesome.
Like I have given you guys just the like, I have essentially pushed you guys. I've gotten the car started and I've given you a rush down the road. Now go watch it and allow yourself to just be taken. I was shocked by how much I liked this movie. I knew how highly it was rated and I knew people were loving it. I sat down. I hate vampires. Like I have a thing against like the neck. So I was like, I'm not going to like this. I loved it. Every second. There was not a scene wasted. And Ryan Coogler, he might be one of those guys. Like,
this is the second vampire movie Ryan's brought to the show since we started it.
Yeah.
And he's loved both of them.
I know. I'll tell you right now, Sinners blows Nosferatu out of the water.
Well, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It is just so original. And anyway, the point is, to get to my critiques, the marketing gives too much away.
Okay.
If you've watched any of the marketing, like there were two things, like big like twists or big reveals or like big things that happened, I guess, plot points.
So I knew one of them.
Yeah, right.
And then I knew Haley.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying.
And so those are like the two you're describing, because I know exactly what two. Those are the two that I was expecting. And so there was a point where
yeah, y'all hear that? Sorry,
they definitely heard that.
It's like I just want to see Ryan's face. But...
Yeah. No, but they're like it didn't take anything away because I was like anxious for these things to happen that I knew because of the marketing. But it also was like, if I in those moments when these things happen, and if you've seen the commercials, you probably can piece it together. When these things happened, I was like, man, I wish I didn't know.
Yeah,
because it just would have like made just my jaw would have been on the floor. But it's because I was expecting it. Again, it didn't take away from it, because like if anything, because it's more of a thriller, my anxiety was pumping and it added to it a little bit. But I would have had so much more fun if I just was shocked.
I'll just wait to watch it for about 3 years so I forget.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, go out.
Don't do that.
In the words of Pedro Pascal, go out and see this effing movie. It's beautiful. It is so good, and it should be the best film of the year so far. Like it more than earns that title. I think that's a great point to move on from Sinners, because we've talked about it enough. Coming in second, if you could guess, is a Minecraft movie, earning another $41.3 million domestically. So with its domestic total now rounding out to over $344.5 million, it's international total is at 376.2 million. If you add those up, its grand total thus far, after this is its third week, is over $720 million. This is going to be a $1 billion movie.
Yeah, likely.
This is going to be a $1 billion movie.
And then it'll who did it? Warner Bros. So it'll come out. HBO will own this, and they will. Right?
You want to hear something else? No, you're completely
Go
right.
ahead.
Sinners is also an HBO or
Right,
a Warner Brothers movie.
Yeah, so they're so Warner Brothers topping it twice.
After a terrible start to the year. I mean, terrible.
Yeah. So HBO Max is gonna catch a lot from that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it'll be $1 billion now. It won't be Neza or Neza 2, the Chinese movie. But yeah, no, that's insane, especially internationally. But I mean, that's a global thing.
Yes.
I mean, everybody plays Minecraft. Everybody from 2009 and anybody who was in the vicinity of video games between, I don't know, I would go so far back as 1995 to now.
They've picked it up.
They've played Minecraft.
You talk about international. This film has made more money overseas than it has here.
Right.
They're almost even, but it's still leaning towards skewing ever so slightly towards the international audience. What's crazy about this is, despite all of our bashing, I still hate David Zaslav. I still hate Warner Brothers CEO. Warner Bros. Discovery CEO. Sorry, he's still a villain in my eyes. But Warner Bros. Is saving cinema this year.
Yeah.
Right now, the second highest grossing film of the year is from Disney. It's Captain America. It's $410 million, blown out of the water by Minecraft. Yeah. And now you have a film that's going to be a cultural phenomenon that is Sinners. It's going to be in theaters for a while, I think. I don't think it'll have the staying power that Minecraft will have, just because Minecraft's a family movie and Sinners is not. But Sinners will be around for at least a month, and it will make back its money. Will it make a ton? No. But what a week for Warner Brothers. And what I'm about to read, the majority of what is transpiring in terms of cinema is from Warner Brothers. So if you remember last week, or at least a couple weeks ago, we discussed how far behind the 2025 box office was compared to this far into last year. So when we compared the numbers through going into April from 2024 to 2025, right? Going on 3 weeks ago, 2024 was blowing 2025 out of the water. More people were going to theaters last year and no one could say why, and people were saying cinema was dead. I mean, it was just astronomically bad how many people were like, no one goes to the movies anymore. Look at last year, we're down. It went from being down 5% compared to last year to the last week, it was up 0.5 point. This week, it's up 5%.
Yeah.
That is a 10% swing in less than a month.
And we're not to Lilo and Stitch. We're not to How to Train Your Dragon.
Thunderbolts.
Like Thunderbolts.
Superman.
We're still going to be churning out some in the next weeks and months.
A whole slew of horror films that people are, absolutely excited for. This is going to be a great year. It just got off to a slow start.
We're just going to be, we'll be watching it, but it'll be, we'll see if it comes back to what 2020, what'd you say, 4?
Yes. 2020.
We'll
so, 2024 or 25 right now is actually in front of 24, but 19 is the year everyone bases it. If I remember reading correctly, 2025 is still 28% behind 2019. But 3 weeks ago, it was 40%.
Yeah. So we just jumped.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll hit it. I don't think we'll hit 2019, but I think we're well on our way. If it continues on this trend and we continue to see awesome movies, I think we could see it come back to 2019 numbers. I'm looking at Minecraft, all of the other countries, and the big contenders here, obviously United Kingdom, because there's a lot of Minecraft YouTubers from the United Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
Australia is another big one. Brazil, Mexico, China, and these are like, besides United Kingdom, those are about the teens millions, like 14 million and 20 millions. A big one that stands out at 10 million is Poland. Poland actually brings in 10 million. Italy's at 9 million. Germany brought in 20 million. France brought in 10 million. So a lot of the, I don't know, more the big countries, right?
Yeah.
But Poland kind of stands out there, as well as Slovakia brought in almost 2 million. So that's kind of like Slovenia is bringing in 300,000, but Slovakia has 1.7.
You've got these like Eastern European, the Akias in there making money.
Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, like the Latin American ones are also. But I don't know. I just find it intriguing because when you had said that it was a little bit more internationally, I was like, well, it's either being played in a lot of countries, which it is. I mean, we're seeing Romania, Norway, Netherlands, Lithuania. Like we're seeing a lot of countries here. But there's some countries breaking in several millions. Another one, like I said, Netherlands is 7.3 million.
Nuts.
So like everybody knows Minecraft.
We should start covering the Netherlands box office.
The Netherlands box office. I don't know what they're playing.
No,
what could they possibly be playing? I don't know.
I
You can keep talking. I'll look into it.
No. We're gonna move on. Well, actually, before we do that, because we do have to move on. But at what point does 2025 get so close to 2019 that we then consider 2025 to be a resounding success, right? Not just that it beats 24, 23, 22. When do we say, okay, cinema's back and 2025 is an absolute success? Because in my mind, if it gets to 5%, it's not going to beat 2019. But if it gets close to being like 5% below of what 2019 was, that's the number for me. If it breaks 10, great year. If it gets close to 5, this is a sign that people are here for movies.
I think, I mean, obviously, if you beat last year, you hit that 10% mark, you can't claim that cinema's back, obviously, until it gets close to, if not beats 2019. However, you can say that there is a resurgence in movies. I think in 2025 we're going to see it, and we're just going to see people reporting on the uptick and the returning, the present tense verb of cinema coming back. It's not going to be it's back. It's like Voldemort kind of deal where he's not back. He's actively working to coming back, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where it's at.
And then while you continue to look up the Netherlands box office, because I think that'd be hilarious to see what they're doing. We see you. I think they're known as the Dutch, right? The Netherlands. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not.
What's Denmark?
Not that, I don't think.
Okay.
Anyway, coming in third is The King of Kings, 17.2 million domestically after its second weekend in theaters.
Dutch.
From Angel Studios. Oh, Netherlands is the Dutch.
Yes, yeah.
I know.
But Angel Studios number.
Number 3. How?
Interesting.
How?
Yeah.
Angel Studios continuing to stick in the top 5 with their follow-up to their what was that film called? Their child sex trafficking, their anti-child sex trafficking film. This is their first film since then, as we talked about last week. King of Kings continued its impressive streak in over 3,500 theaters. So people were picking up this film. Thus far in domestic theaters, King of Kings has earned $45.3 million, more than likely benefiting from the Easter weekend. And this film stars Mark Hamill, of all people, and Pierce Brosnan, and so on and so forth. So there's really nothing else to be said about this other than what we said last week. A family film on Easter Sunday. It's going to succeed, but congrats to Angel Studios. And why are these religious films just popping off this month? We're going to move on, but it's just such an interesting phenomenon. Coming in fourth is The Amateur, earning a respectable $7.2 million domestically. Thus far, 20th Century Studios' espionage flick has fared better overseas than here, though, earning a respectable $27.3 million here overall. The film has also earned $37 million internationally, so its global total thus far is $64.3 million after 2 weeks. The film stars Rami Malek, and I can imagine that Disney and 20th Century Studios were hoping for a little bit more of an explosion with this one, because this one had a lot of marketing. I saw this everywhere, and it just never piqued my interest. So second straight week in the top 5, but I don't know, making $64 million after 2 weeks when you got films like Sinners making that in its first week in 3 days.
Yeah, I
think that says enough about what people think about your film. And coming in fifth, last but not least, is Warfare from A24, earning an okay $4.8 million domestically. So far, worldwide, it's earned just over $17 million through its 2 weeks in theaters, which is not bad for an indie. It's just kind of like, it's okay. However, because it is a $20 million price tag to make this film, they're, that's kind of, What was the marketing on that? Because I don't know, and I can imagine that 20 million was just towards producing the film.
Yeah.
So we said last week
that Donnie loved it.
Yeah.
So.
It's gory, it's real, and it's definitely popular. But I just don't know. I think it's a bad time for that film to have come out. It makes you wonder if they should have gone earlier, or maybe waited a little bit. But at the end of the day, this year is so stacked, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we finally gotten through our top 5. Jake, do you have any big winners and losers from this past weekend?
Do you want me to tell you Netherlands?
The winners this week is the Netherlands box office.
Apparently.
Tell me.
A theater I can't pronounce. It looks totally awesome, better than any
Pat
American.
Demont.
Yeah. I don't even know if I could possibly show the viewers at home now that I have a camera we all share. You can't even tell. Trust me, this thing looks nicer than any American theater I've ever been in. It's got a whole car in it.
It does.
So I believe April 21st here, we got Black Bag, which has been out for a long time.
I'm
here.
Surprised, yeah.
Locked.
That's the one with Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Where he's locked in the car.
He's locked in well,
that's literally the story.
Sense.
He tries to rob the guy's car, and Anthony it's Anthony Hopkins, I think. He's like, "You're dead now," and he just torments him the whole movie.
Okay. We're re-showing Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars.
What?
For the 20th
what is
anniversary.
Fourth? What is this number 4?
And then Free Willy. Okay. Accountant 2, that just came out. I'm not sure until Dawn. That would be up your
Maybe
alley.
not out just yet.
Sinners. There's a Red Flags. Not sure. That's like a romantic drama. Warfare. Bonhoeffer. Have we heard of that one before? Okay.
We've gone past the English language.
Yeah, Hit Pig, and just stuff I've not heard of. The Amateur drop. They're showing Kaiju number 8, which is an anime series for some reason. Dogman, just all kinds of. These guys are showing a lot. Now I am in Amsterdam. I'm in an Amsterdam.
Yeah, probably the biggest theater in their country.
Probably.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing they're showing Interstellar still. Sneak Night, Paddington, Peru, Bridget Jones.
Free Willy is gonna haunt me.
Yeah. Well, these are all movies that we've seen come and go in our American box office, but obviously times are they slow down in other countries where we're like, that's been in the box office for 2 weeks. Get it out of here. I don't want to watch that. So
we see you, our Dutch audience. Our Dutch audience.
If we ever get one, or if you know anybody in the Netherlands, tell them to watch episode 20.
Season 2, episode 7, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes, episode 7.
Yes,
of season
2. 23, I think.
We see you.
the
Dutch.
I'm gonna take a look here because to be honest, I don't know if you can really definitively say anyone's a legit loser this week because it's kind of tough whenever you've got Minecraft movie still doing its thing.
Got another G Kids number 7.
Pride and Prejudice. That's gonna be. You know what? Big winner. Pride and Prejudice 20th anniversary re-release in theaters from Focus Features, earning almost 3 million. You know what? That makes a lot of sense because on Instagram, it's the hand thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's everywhere now, again.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why.
I feel like if our friend group of women knew that it was...
we would have been in there.
Re-released?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched it once and I was like, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I should have been like, oh man, they released Pride and Prejudice. Like, it should have been in there yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't speak up for good reason.
I can promise that my local theater, I did not see it. But congrats to Focus Features and Pride and Prejudice's re-release. So with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and end segment 1. So coming up after the break, we have major Star Wars announcements. You probably heard about it. We're gonna talk about it. And it finally happened in The Last of Us. If you know anything about that story, it finally transpired, and there will be spoilers ahead. So maybe plug up your ears and scroll past at that point. But we're going to talk about it after the break. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You made it to segment 2, which is usually our major news segment. We talk about 2 of the biggest things to happen from the previous week, sometimes 3, depending on how big the event are, but usually we restrict it to 2 for those of you who are new here. So, Jake, we're going to start in a galaxy far, far away. We're going to go to Star Wars because if anyone knows anything about anything media, they would have seen that there was a expo of sorts. It was I cannot remember exactly what the name of the event was. It was Star Wars Celebration in Japan. Is exactly what it is. I'm reading the headline right now, and a lot was revealed. Specifically, and I think what is the most popular, dominating the headlines right now, is Star Wars Starfighter, which is a Ryan Gosling starring, helmed by Deadpool director Sean Levy, original film that takes place 5 years after the last Star Wars film, so The Rise of Skywalker, and is a standalone. It's like Rogue One. There is no, like, this character is not going to be returning as of right now until Disney decides they want to pay Ryan Gosling again and he'll show up. But as of right now, it's being penned as it's like being described as his own standalone story. This character is brand new.
Awesome. And literally me.
He's
right?
literally
because
you.
I fly a Starfighter. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with the Mustang and
Yeah,
whatever else he drove.
He just be driving.
Yeah, he drives.
He just be driving.
That guy drives. He
flies,
drives flying cars
Yep.
in the future. Now Starfighters in a galaxy far, far, far away.
If there was a man made for Star Wars, it was Ryan Gosling.
Yeah,
He's gonna be like a new Han Solo, Poe Dameron type.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I'm excited to see kind of what he gets into. The way it was revealed was you had Sean Levy on the stage in front of, I guess, the audience, and he made some big announcement, and out comes like a WWE entrance. Ryan Gosling, his theme music hits, and here he comes. And he walks
He's got
out.
theme music? What's his theme music?
I don't remember. It was just Star Wars music, but his theme music, the joke is the theme music hit, and there he comes.
Yeah.
You know, and he's not like all dramatic. It's just Ryan Gosling like,
hey,
guys, it's me.
I'm in Star Wars.
Yeah. The film releases in May of 2027.
Oh, man.
So it's going to be, I'm excited.
I'll forget about it.
And until you won't.
Until I won't.
Yeah.
And then I'll start seeing clips and trailers, and then people will be like, look, it's literally me. And, you know, because they'll make edits of the trailers. And
it's just going to be the next extended clip. It's going to be the same memes recycled. They're just going to add at the end just him flying a starfighter.
I guarantee you it's not going to, they're going to throw the scores out. Star Wars, like the music in Star Wars isn't going to matter. It's going to be Night Call, like from Drive.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for how new it is. And this is just the beginning of the new. There's a lot of new cool projects coming out. So following that, we have Maul, Shadow Lord, the animated series. We don't have a lot about that other than the fact that it's Darth Maul.
Interesting.
So I'm assuming that it's going to be between when we last see him. Well, actually, you know, I don't know, because we do see him in the last season of the Clone Wars. I was going to say the last time we saw him was his death in Rebels, right? So obviously. But there was a lot of time in between there, right? His sporadic appearance in the Clone Wars to his death. I'm really curious to see where they go.
We saw him in the Solo movie.
Yes. So I wonder if it's going to pick up there, because that was that era of like the Empire, the beginning of the Empire when Han Solo was young. He was just kind of making it happen in the slums, really, in the criminal underworld. Can you imagine? Like, that's really exciting, because it's like, imagine Jabba the Hutt having beef with an actual Sith Lord.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And Jabba, he's old, right?
Yes.
Jabba was several hundreds of years, so he's been around. He will be a key figure in most Star Wars films until they truly go back to like the New Republic.
Yes.
And even then, I think that's enough years back that you won't have to worry about it. But he still could be a baby.
So, you just reminded me of something. Is Jabba the Hutt's son, Rada the Huttlet.
Yeah.
If I remember reading something correctly, it's apparently from the Mandalorian and Grogu, which is one that I'm not talking about a lot on here because everyone's heard about that one, and there's really not a lot of story outside of just a continuation of the series that comes out next year. I'm pretty sure. Yes, right? It is a movie going to be. That one will be the first Star Wars film since Rise of Skywalker to be released. It comes out before Starfighter. Apparently, it was leaked that the main villain in that, or at least one of the central characters, is Rada the Huttlet, or I guess he's going to be Rada the Hutt, Jabba the Hutt's son, in that film. And he's going to be played, the theory, or at least, I don't know if this is confirmed, but Jeremy Allen White is going to be be that character.
Isn't he like jacked? We don't have an image.
So I'm really curious to see. Well, the last time I remember seeing Rada was when he was the baby and Ahsoka was carrying him around and they saved him and like during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I don't know if we saw him after that. I don't remember seeing him in any of the original series, or the original trilogy. But that one will be really interesting because you talk about Jabba. I love the Hutt clan. I love the idea
this
that it's going
guy's
to continue.
doing pull-ups, and I mean the back muscles on this guy is crazy. And I'm still gonna try and show the audience. You can actually
Turn it sideways again. There you go. You can kind of see it. Look at that,
dude.
bro.
Biceps, triceps, back muscles.
You know,
lats.
When I look at that now, I love it that it's a hut that you're describing that. But when we're watching that or I'm looking at that, it looks like he's in some sort of coliseum or some sort of like arena.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's got boxing gloves on. That might just be his hands. But
So likely we'll get a Thor Ragnarok v Hulk-esque scene between Mandalorian or Grogu versus Rada here.
I think it's Rada.
Rada. So
it could be Rhotta, but I think it's
Rotta.
I think it's I remember
it is likely he's a gladiator sort, and we'll get a gladiator type scene,
which will be cool.
It'll be cool.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. We also in that again, this wasn't in the script, but now that we're talking about it, we also got our first look as Pedro Pascal as Mando.
Yep.
Back in the suit, back in the armor. Din Djarin himself making the appearance. So that's exciting.
Yep. And then
moving down the line. Go ahead.
Grogu.
Yes.
Does he look the same? I know movies tend to.
From what I saw, he was a little bit bigger, but it was mostly stills. Like you didn't really get to see a ton of it. He was a little bigger.
Do we know how long between
I don't
TV
remember.
series and?
I didn't read it.
All right, that's all right. I would assume it's not much more than a year or so.
It can't be
in a galaxy far, far away. I'm not sure how they count years between planets and.
Well, apparently it's all. It's isn't it BBY? It's before the
they
Battle of
all
Yavin and after the Battle of
they all
Yavin.
Count based upon I think one.
It's weird.
It is odd.
It is odd that like, and I think this was retroactively like this was applied in retrospect by George Lucas because he was like, oh, I got to keep track of time. Battle of Yavin is like it's like their Jesus moment. It's like Yavin 4, and so that's it. It's so. Anyway, I don't know how far I'd love to. I need to look at an updated timeline because it's one of my favorite things to do back in the day. I need to catch up on Star Wars anyway, but was to look at the timeline of everything because you then get a scope of how quick things happened.
Yeah,
like Darth Vader was Darth Vader for like 21 years.
I was gonna say not that long.
No, yeah, he was barely two decades in.
And from the originals, and when he was unmasked, spoiler, he had aged drastically more than the actual time that went by. So yeah, he might have been 20-ish when he turned.
He was also burnt to a crisp.
At that time, and then another 20. He's only 40, and when they take the mask off, Buddy looks 60. Which I mean, actors at the time, and
Yeah. But, well, I think that they also explain that because like look at like Palpatine and look at all the Sith get disfigured and
the power of Sith. If you want a little lore, the dark side drains you and actually physically eats away at your body.
The hatred.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that makes a ton of sense in that situation. But yeah, no, I love seeing the timeline because it's just like things happen in such quick succession, as is life, and it's fun. But moving down the line, speaking of Darth Vader, Hayden Christensen has officially been confirmed for a return as Anakin Skywalker in the sequel season to 2023's Ahsoka series. We also got our first look at Rory McCann, who is notoriously played the Hound, who's my favorite character from Game of Thrones. He's going to be playing Balin Scroll,
which I have no idea.
He's the main baddie.
Main baddie?
Yeah, the original actor who he is so beloved, and I'm actually blanking on his name. He passed away, and now that's why
this guy.
Yeah, that's why McCann is taking over. Ray Stevenson, that's it.
So Ray Stevenson,
fantastic dude. I mean, he it's tough to see anyone else in that role.
Yeah,
but the way that character is portrayed, he is almost like he's not like the Hound, but like he's kind of a Hound adjacent. If you know what I'm talking about for Game of Thrones. So I when they announced McCann as the guy, old Rory.
Mm-hmm.
I was, yeah, exactly my thoughts. I was like, yeah, okay. If there's one guy who could pull it off, it's him. Yeah. So I'm excited for that, and we can only see the follow up to an amazing first season in Ahsoka. And we have a ton of other projects, a lot of things that didn't have as much description, didn't have as much dissection, but these are as follow. So along in the production, we have, as we described, The Mandalorian and Grogu, films from Taika Waititi, Charmin Abaid Chinoy, who is the director of a documentary called A Girl in the River, The Price of Forgiveness. We have a James Mangold film, and James Mangold did A Complete Unknown and Logan. Then we have a Simon Kinberg trilogy, and this one worries me a little bit because Simon Kinberg was a producer, writer, director during the end of the Fox universe. So he did like Dark Phoenix and Days of Future Past, which Days of Future Past was pretty good. But like Dark Phoenix was like, I think he directed that one. And that one was really bad. Yeah. He also helped write and produce the Fantastic Four from 2016. Not good.
No.
So he's helming a trilogy.
Interesting.
So we'll see how that goes.
All of this is interesting. It's just different degrees of positive versus negative interestings.
Right. James Mangold, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
Because he's just one of those guys. Taika, he's kind of hit or miss. Following the success of like Jojo Rabbit and his original Thor, it's just kind of been hit or miss.
People have been making fun of him.
He's a bit of a goofy guy.
Where he's fallen in love with the goat scream because someone showed him that on set of the Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is so funny, we have to put it in the movie. And everybody was like, this is like three years old now.
Yeah, you don't want that in this film.
Yeah, and then he put it in.
It was there. I don't even remember. Like, I remember hearing it, but I don't remember where.
So it just seems like he's that kind of guy, which can be to his detriment.
I mean, he's funny, right? Yeah. Like, he is funny, but I agree. He's just...
Did we mention Sigourney Weaver's going to be in the Mandalorian
yes,
movie?
That's a great point, too. That's...
She says Grogu's more powerful than a xenomorph.
She's just saying that. I mean, he probably is, but like
she'd know.
She would. Well, yeah, okay. Okay. Big yellow robot. Anyway. You know what I love? This is so sidebar, but I love the idea that big robot that in Aliens 2, when she's like fighting the xenomorph, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's just a forklift in the future. So she's forklift certified. She's just fighting this alien in a forklift.
Well, I do the same thing.
Yeah, I do the same thing. That's probably not at all what that was meant to be. But every time I watch that movie and I see that scene, that's all I think about is just forklift, and it's just it makes it so much more. Like it's already a great film, right? It's aliens.
Well, but if the forklift's powerful enough to take on the xenomorph, is Grogu powerful enough to take on a forklift?
You know, when she originally said that, I'm like, that's just fan service. But then I thought about it. Grogu, if a xenomorph was like running at him, he just would, and it's over, right? Yeah, just
whatever.
Get out of here.
Like that's what Jedi and Sith can do.
Right.
They just toss it.
It would have to be like a really like weak Jedi. Like you'd have to go to be honest, I don't know. Well, I take that back. So the idea is like, my mind is like those who are more lightsaber heavy. So like the whole idea between blue and green is like blue lightsabers.
Are the knights.
Yeah, they're more like saber focused, and then the green is more like in touch with the Force, and they're going to be more. So it's like my first thought is like Obi-Wan wouldn't, and then all I thought of it as I'm in my mind is like Obi-Wan might have more trouble. All I see is him doing that scene to General Grievous when he's like really dramatic, and Grievous is like oh, and like flies. He'd do that to the xenomorph.
Well, there are scenes where it's those really crappy battle droids or just any droids whatsoever, and they'll just push them
fly.
Over. They just push them over.
They go ah, yeah.
And then we've seen in Clone Wars like Anakin get mad at somebody or whatever and just pick him up, and now he is chosen one. He's the chosen one. So I mean, grain of salt, but I mean Obi-Wan lifts stuff.
Do you know why Obi-Wan was the worst example? Because in Revenge of the Sith, he goes bar for bar, including a force push with Anakin, the chosen one. Yeah. And they can't push each other back until like they equally, you know, like it's like an equal reaction. If it was as bad as like my brain initially was thinking, he would have lost that. Yeah. So he's fine. Yeah. Obi-Wan was not the right choice.
But Obi-Wan's got the technique. That's what it is. That's Mr. Miyagi versus Karate Kid. Right.
I'm so guilty of doing like the Force thing with like the opening doors, like the automatic doors. Just
this nerd.
I don't care. It's fun.
I've done it.
I don't do it often, but it's like I think I watched Ewan McGregor say he does that, and I was like,
he's
me.
Well, he's supposed to. He's actually Obi-Wan.
I know, but it's funny because it's like I saw him say he did that. And I was like, that's the same level of autism that I am, and I was ecstatic by that.
But but you know what I'm saying, right? Is like if anybody could actually do it.
Yeah, right. It would be him.
It would be him. And among others, like Hayden could do it, but like all of them It'd be him.
It'd be Obi-Wan. Yeah. The guy that makes his own lightsaber sounds when he's like playing the part would definitely be the one to do this and actually be able to do it in real life.
I don't know if I could keep a straight face doing choreography with you and.
Can you imagine? You just like you're trying to like do this really dramatic scene, like in Revenge of the Sith, and he's just going pew pew pew, wow, like that.
Dude, there's no way.
George Lucas is like, shut up, stop. You know what?
Yeah, dude, I'm in the zone.
Bro, I'm in it. It's like, I know, but you're too far. Anyway, all right.
You're itching to talk about this next part. I know you are.
I am, because the thing is, I might not have been like, I played the first one. I didn't really play the second one. And then what blew up, and I didn't think it was worth it. And I wish I would have played it in the moment, because now I can't accurately compare the second season of The Last of Us to the game. And I know there are some key differences, like who was with, there's a lot of critiques, because the changes to the show were like, Joel didn't. They weren't with them on that patrol at that time when that happened. And it's like really dumb, but it's like the same outcome. And so it's like, I don't think that is like the way we should go about this. But if you don't know what we're talking about and you're not paying attention to anything media and you're not watching HBO or you don't have Max, Joel's death in The Last of Us Season 2, which is a recreation of the video game of the same name, The Last of Us Part 2. Joel's death is an overall pretty faithful recreation of the controversial moment from the games, finally answering the years-long question of if the HBO series would actually follow through on killing off Pedro Pascal. They did it brutally, and they did it quick. In Season 2, Episode 2, he's dead. And I personally not love that he died, but it was a great episode.
Right.
I see people hate on it. IGN is even giving it like a 6.
You took the other side as well with the casting, right?
Yeah, Bella Ramsey.
Where you were like, I don't care.
The thing is, like,
good.
When it was first announced, I was like, oh, that doesn't look like her at all. But it's like, when you watch it, you just like, for me, it was like, okay, now she's Ellie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I just like, I understand she doesn't look like the character, but she personifies her so well that
I can't talk on it because I haven't seen any of it or played any of the video games, but one person's point was the whole reason that they had a beef with casting was she didn't bulk up any. And the point of that they were making, it needed to be I guess that's I see. I'm so far out of it. I didn't even.
That's
know
the one that that's the one. Well, it might have been about Ellie too, but that's like the big critique with. So Abby in the video game is this hulking woman who
she's supposed to be training to kill right, Joel.
Yeah.
Right. And that was the whole point, was she wasn't, and then she was bulked because she was training that whole time.
So so Abby in the games is a big woman, like like just a big person. She's very muscular. Like her whole character is that she could beat fully grown men with her hands.
Yeah.
She is like that. She's that strong. In the show, she's regular size. Like she's not huge. And the thing is that they didn't really show, and I don't remember them showing this in the game either. But she described her time in a militia in Seattle training.
Yeah.
For like this moment for 5 years. So like they describe it and they talk about it, but they don't really like go that deep.
Yeah.
If I will say the one critique that I would agree with, because I thought it was a fantastic episode. I love the idea. So in the episode, this is going to be spoilers. Joel dies. Okay. I'm sorry. Get over it. He's dead.
Dude.
The big thing. This is the big thing. Some people were moved around, like I said. So Jesse, who is Joel's brother, he's not out in the field with them. So they go on patrols and they break into groups of 2, and each group has like 2 people on horseback. Jesse was out in the video game with them, and they describe the idea that their town, which is, oh God, now I'm blanking on their town. It's in Wyoming, and I'll remember it here in a second. Jackson Hole. And now I'm worried that I said that wrong. But anyway, either way, they're in Wyoming. They describe how the town could get attacked and there could be a breach. And in the show, and as we're going to talk about with these quotes, the co-creators, Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, describe how they needed to show that. So they left in the show, instead of having Jesse go out with them, they had him stay in the town and defend the town from an actual breach. So it's very real. And as that's happening, a snowstorm comes in, and Joel, who is out not with Ellie, he's with another character. They're out and about, and they're like, there's multiple groups of scouts on horseback trying to discover what's going on, because the zombies, the cordyceps are acting weird. They're acting a lot more intelligent, and so they're on high alert. Well, as they're gone, the town gets attacked, and Abby, who is on patrol, who is obviously with his group trying to kill Joel, because Joel, in the end of the first season, when he saves Ellie, do you know what I'm talking about?
Not really.
Okay,
No.
all right.
See, I'm so far
We're
out
backing up here. This is going to be such a spoiler. So the whole, like, the first season in the first game, subsequently, Joel is the main character.
Yeah.
So Joel lost his daughter at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
And he is, after I think it was like 12, 15 years later, he is paid. He's like a heartless, just essentially like a crime, not boss, but he's just like he just transports things for people for like money under the table.
Yeah.
He does jobs. He's a mercenary, that kind of thing. He's paid by this group called the Fireflies, who are like anti-government, because in this society, when the apocalypse happened, the government says no more rights, and they just like, it's a city state per every city, and it's very controlled because obviously the zombie apocalypse. And the Fireflies are like, actually no. So the Fireflies pay Joel a ton of money to transport cargo across the country. He's in Boston.
Yeah.
And they say, or no, yes, it's Boston. And they say, you're going to Salt Lake City.
Mm.
The cargo is a kid, and it's Ellie. And Ellie is immune.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a big deal. So the whole story is Joel, who's this heartless, not heartless. He's got a heart of stone because of his child's death. Yeah. He falls in love with Ellie. Ellie reminds him of his daughter and a lot of himself, and he grows attached to her. So he finally gets her there after this huge thing. And when he gets her there, she's about to be put under to have surgery so they could try to synthesize a cure from her blood.
Yeah.
It is then realized as she's about to go into surgery that she will die.
Yeah.
She will not survive the surgery. Yeah. And Joel has this kind of moment where he's like, morality versus like common sense. Like what is the correct thing here?
Yeah.
And so Joel, in one of the most controversial moments in gaming and now in television and just storytelling history, he wipes the entire hospital.
Yeah.
He kills everybody. Doctors, nurses, the Fireflies, all of them. Like, this exterminates the Firefly movement.
Yeah.
And he saves Ellie. Moreover, when Ellie wakes up, because remember, she was put under, she asks him what happened, and he lies to her. He does not tell her that she would die. He did not tell her that they never got to try to synthesize a cure. He told her that he barely got her out after a raid.
Yeah.
And that they were not looking for a cure anymore.
Mm.
And that's where the first game ends.
Mm.
So the sequel game is Abby. Abby's dad was the main doctor that was going to operate on Ellie.
Yeah.
And Joel shot him in the face.
Yeah.
And did not care. Like the scene in particular, which is a brilliant scene in both the game, the doctor is like, you have to let me do this, and like walks up to him, and it's not even like posing a threat, and Joel just heartlessly just shoots him in the face. And that is Abby's dad.
Yeah.
And so that's like why this big, like, the story takes fold is Abby's like, did you even look at him? Because I did, and his brain was splattered everywhere. And so Abby kills Joel.
Yeah.
And I remember when this happened in the game, because the internet, if there's one character that is beloved, there is none more than Joel.
Yeah.
The PlayStation community and the gaming community loves Joel.
Mm.
He died an hour into the second game.
Yeah.
And people threw a fit.
Yeah.
And so now that was the whole talk leading up to season 2 was, are they actually going to do it?
They're going to do it.
You get Pedro Pascal. Well, a lot of people were like, they're going to wait till season 3 because they're splitting the second game into 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They're like, they're going to wait till season 3 or they're just going to change it. They're going to kill Jesse. They're not going to kill, which is Joel's brother. They're not going to kill, he dead.
Yeah.
Like, they dead.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I'm so happy that they stuck to the faithful story because it's just like, and we're going to get into these quotes here finally. So speaking to Variety, video game and series creators Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin had some interesting comments. Druckmann saying, ultimately, I think we needed just to settle back into the show because even in the game, there's like an hour or something before you get to this moment, i.e. Joel's death. But we also knew it needed to be early enough because this is the inciting incident for the story. The biggest thing that I think people, because the thing is, when this happened, review bombs, to this day, people hate that game. And they come up with all sorts of excuses. And I'm not going to say it's a perfect game. It's definitely, how are you going to improve upon for perfection? The first game is the closest thing to perfection you can ever get to. It's a great game.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as good. But I think people trash on it because it's not as, like, it's unfortunate. They're going to judge it because their favorite character's dead. The second game is not about Joel. Mm-hmm. It's about Ellie. Mm-hmm. And her, she was 14 in the first game, essentially helpless. She's 19, had grown up, learned everything she could in the second game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like she is now a grown adult. She is now the lead. And I hate that Joel had to die.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, like you missed the point of the second game then, or the story. The one thing that I can agree with, and this is the only reason I agree with it is because I thought this at the end of the second episode was Man, that was fast.
Yeah.
Like the season just started, and it's like, so some people said there was a pacing issue. I can agree with that. Like, I think that there's a slight, like, it could have been a little more drawn out. There could have been a little bit more
rushed.
Yeah, like, but the thing is that again, like and I think that the reason it felt rushed in the series, a lot like the game, is because, especially as Druckmann's saying, they're now expecting it, and you don't want people to lose interest because you draw it out too long.
Right.
So it's like you just get it over with, and then now the rest of the story can happen.
Yeah.
So I completely see why, and I agree with both sides. So Mazin also said, quote, "There's a danger of tormenting people." And this is exactly what I was just describing. It's not what we want to do. If people know it's coming, they will start to feel tormented, and people who don't know it's coming are going to find out it's coming because people are going to talk about the fact that it hasn't shown up yet. Our instinct was to make sure that when we did it, that it felt natural in the story and was not some metafiction of us wanting to upset people, or metafunction of us wanting to upset people. So I completely get it. I think it's
sure.
I think it could have been done better in the original story, yes. But at this point, you're following a really good set of stories, right? Both games are good. People are already review bombing this because they don't agree with the fact Joel died. Get over it. He's dead. This isn't his story.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, the thing is, and Joel shows up in like flashbacks in the game. He's not done.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to see Joel. You're going to see, it's just not in the same capacity. So I don't know. I heavily disagree. It's just, it's really annoying because the biggest thing is people are like, show's done. Their argument is they can't have a show without Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. All right.
You want to know my biggest critique to that and my counter argument? The best episode in season 1 didn't have Joel in it for a second, or maybe had him for a minute.
Yeah.
It was the Nick Offerman episode. The one that was all controversial because gay. Yeah. That was the best episode in the first season. Wasn't even connected to any of the stories. It was just a beautiful tale about life in the apocalypse. It's just a love story.
Interesting.
That is the best episode. And that was without Pedro Pascal, and that was without Joel. They will be fine.
They'll be all right, guys. You can live without Pedro Pascal. All right. You lived with him before he got into stardom and he got real big. You'll live with him through this.
Brother showed up in Game of Thrones, got his head squished, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
I kind of like this guy. Make him stretchy.
Yeah. Yeah. How far does his arm reach?
Put him in a movie with Nicolas Cage. See how it goes.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. I'm just naming off shit that he's been in. But
I don't know.
Anyway,
other than that, I think that's the end of our second.
Enjoy
segment.
The Last of Us rant because I could not put in anything into that.
Yeah,
I've got nothing. Well, I grew up on Xbox.
Yeah, right.
So it was never really available, even if I wanted it to be. Which I don't care for zombies. Folks at home, if you want to know something about me, I was terrified of zombies. Now I'm somewhat indifferent, but it's just not something.
Avoidance.
I don't care to think about the concept of a zombie apocalypse actually happening.
I'll tell you, last night, because I watched Sinners, then turned around and went home and watched The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I'm so done with people getting bit. Like, I had this moment last night where I was like, because a lot of the action, the movement seems like looks the same.
Yeah.
Like when a vampire jumps on somebody and when a cordyceps filled zombie jumps on somebody, it looks the same.
Yeah.
They're getting eaten. God, I
don't care for that.
There was a moment I was like, this is not what I enjoy.
No.
like this is both of the great stories. I'm going to continue watching The Last of Us. I'd watch Sinners again today. You know, like happily so. I don't want to watch them back to back again.
Okay.
That was a little much on my old brain. But other than that, I think it's good time to move on. So coming up next, as always, our lovingly adorned or lovingly named Quick-ish Hits segment. So see you in a minute. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You made it to segment 3. Moderately brisk.
Yeah.
Our moderately brisk hits, as Jake looked up synonyms for quick-ish.
Quick-ish.
And moderately brisk was one of the options, and we think that's hilarious. So, but what's funny is I imagine like brisk, the soda, the pop.
Yeah.
And it's just moderately brisk, and it's just the bottle.
It's just a watered down lemonade tea.
It's a brisk that you got from like a restaurant with ice in it, and you put that in the fridge, and you forgot about it for 2 days.
Yeah, you got a brisk lemonade or iced tea from Taco Bell from the fountain.
Yeah.
It was
water.
There's not enough syrup.
Yeah, water.
It's moderately brisk.
That is your segment that you're listening to right now.
Get ready. You're
yeah,
about to.
Yeah, you're gonna like pick it up thinking, oh yeah, I got some left over, and you're gonna take a sip and you're gonna be disappointed.
Oh, this is watered
yeah,
down.
Oh yeah.
No, actually.
So welcome back. That is what you're walking into. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. This is another long one, so we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to just hear us out and let us talk about news and let me rant about why you shouldn't be mad at The Last of Us, or I mean, be mad but know that you're wrong. I'm gonna take that stance.
Or be perfectly content with the ignorance to the entire universe. Of
right? Yeah, you can't be mad if you don't know. If you never played it, you don't watch it, you can't be angry.
I'm happy. I'm great. I feel great. My unknowing.
I mean, not weaponize ignorance, but
oh, it's
thoughtful.
Weaponized.
Anyway,
mass murder. It's weaponized.
This is the last episode ever because I'm gonna die after this. Anyway,
from my ignorance.
But yeah, died from Jake's ignorance. It's what reads across my
like, what does
my
this
tombstone.
do? That's what weaponized ignorance is.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoy us, leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us that you disagree with us. Tell us why you disagree with us or why you agree with us, and that you enjoy listening.
Preferably tell us why. You can disagree with us, but we would like to know why.
If you're listening and you made it this far, just type wrong in the comments, and don't say anything else. But like, comment, do the whole subscribe or follow thing. Share it with your mom. Share it with whoever. We would love to be their favorite podcast. So again, thank you so much, and we really appreciate you. Genuinely heartfelt. I don't know, it probably seems disingenuous now because we've said this so many times, and it's not scripted, but genuinely,
we mean it.
I mean
it for every
I'm just
episode.
saying, I hope it doesn't sound disingenuous because we really do. We're very thankful.
I can just imagine a wrong and then the timestamp as to what was wrong.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, just timestamp it, click it, takes you to that point. It says the quote wrong. That we know that you disagree.
Yeah,
that's all that we need to know. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get into our segment. We're going to run through. We have 2 pieces of news that we're going to discuss, and then we have a host of trailers, and we're going to discuss which one we're the most excited for and kind of what the trailer entails, maybe a little bit. So the first piece of news here, very quick. Sam Neill, who is in Jurassic Park, who's the lead of Jurassic Park. Remember the guy in the denim shirt with the overalls and the red ascot? That guy? Yeah, he has been cast in the next Godzilla and Kong 3. Which releases in 26 or 27. So I just imagine he's going to be the same character.
Likely, yes.
Just guy who knows too much about animals goes up against big creatures. So good for him.
Interesting.
I'm excited to see how that cast continues to shape up. But yeah, it's looking like an interesting film. So we're going to go ahead. So go ahead.
Sorry, Godzilla? Is that
Godzilla and Kong? I don't know why.
Sorry. He typoed on the script here.
Godzilla?
I thought it was some kind of crazy.
No, Godzilla and Kong.
Sorry.
I apologize.
Godzilla and Kong 3. He probably read through it, but when I glanced down, I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what a Godzilla is.
Godzilla?
That's like somebody from the country Godzilla.
Right. Yeah, that's if the lizard that got the nuclear radiation was from the creek and not from the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Japan. Right. It was in the creek somewhere on the Mississippi River, and some dude was like, "Boink!" He threw the tiniest, and all of a sudden Godzilla comes out like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, but he jumps out and he crushes a Taco Bell and a KFC.
Public menace #1.
Yeah.
Crushing a Taco
Bell.
Dude. No, he wouldn't last.
I was genuinely about to say, let's be real here. If Godzilla popped up in America, he's dead.
Well, especially if he crushed a Taco Bell.
I don't care about the movies. That man, no, everyone in a 2-inch radius has a gun.
Well, guns don't necessarily work. But
are you kidding me? The military would just be like, bomb it. They wouldn't care.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't wait.
Bro, our government would say,
we got itchy trigger fingers twin. All right.
We have a whole other half the country. Just blow it up. Godzilla, he targeted Japan because he knew he could survive.
Yeah.
The Japanese are so nice.
That's what it was. He had an aerial view and he was like, which one should I choose?
He was choosing his spawn location.
It was. Where are we dropping, boys?
Yeah, he would not last.
Anyway,
we play on the American stereotype of the gun.
Well, he is in Fortnite, so.
He is in Fortnite. Anyway, moving down the line, in the most exciting news of the entire night, at least one of the most exciting news of the entire night, my personal favorite. Remember Ryan Coogler, how we were oogling over his job in Sinners? Yeah, that guy just announced on the Happy Sad Confused podcast that he is going to be doing a X-Files reboot, and that is immediately. That is his next project. So following his press tour post Sinners, he's jumping into an X-Files reboot. He has talked to Gillian Anderson, who plays Scully, so one of the lead actors in the original series.
Yeah.
I am ecstatic for this. So the thing is, I have a personal favorite villain, and it's Eugene Toombs. I don't care if that is basic. Toombs is terrifying. And so when I think about what Ryan Coogler can do with a reboot that is more adult themed, that's not so much made for TV, that's just what he can do, because he did a great job with Sinners, great writing. A Eugene Toombs could be an insane character. This guy, if you don't know anything about Eugene Toombs, he's a mutant who eats the livers of unsuspecting victims. So they link him back. They're in the 90s when they first discover him. They link him back all the way back to the 30s. And the only way they were able to link him to his victims is because exactly what I said. They found these deceased people mauled to death, but not in the way you'd think. The only thing missing from them was their livers, and they were removed with their hands. Not just that, not with their hands, but like the Toombs hands. Like they could tell that it was ripped out.
Yeah.
The other thing that was really interesting is that Toombs has this innate ability to bend and contort his body and squish his body into any surface ever. So if there is a way to get into a house, like if there's a duct, if there is a crack in a wall, he'll fit in.
Yeah.
And he will get in your house.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And he's got these glowing yellow eyes. There's a scene from the first, did not know it'd be this scary. I watched the X-Files a number of years ago. The first 2 episodes are just kind of not like, they're not really scary. They're great hooks, but they're just like, okay, like I can keep watching this. Then episode 3 hits. That's when he first pops up. Season 1, episode 3. Oh my God. I was like, what am I watching? Because he's like, there's a scene where he's stalking his victim.
Yeah.
And he's in like he's in like the one of the sewers, like on the side of the road, like it's got, you know what I'm talking about, the opening that leads like the runoff water into the sewer. He's standing there, not blinking, staring, and the only thing you can see is the light illuminating from the dark because it's at night from the street light, his eyes, and he is just staring, watching this woman walk into her house.
It.
Yeah, it's like it before it. Like it is genuinely terrifying. And so the thought of that updated with Ryan Coogler, who is a better writer. I do not mean to be any sort of disrespectful to the writers of the original show because they're great. Ryan Coogler will outright them.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where this goes. So any thoughts on the X-Files reboot?
I never watched the X-Files.
You have to watch the X-Files.
I don't know if I have to.
It is so good.
He's gonna hurt me if I don't.
Weaponized ignorance, right?
Yeah. Finger on the trigger of his ignorance.
So following this, we're going to go ahead and move down the line here. I'm going to list a handful of trailers that were released this past week, and we're going to go back and we're going to discuss them and discuss which ones we're the most excited for. So starting off, we're going to start with Him, the Jordan Peele produced and Justin Tipping directed sports horror film, which for me was like, oh my, sports horror. I've never heard of that, and no one else has either. This is a pioneer in the field, if you will, in sports film, in sports movies. The IMDb synopsis is, quote, a promising young football player joins an isolated compound to train under a dynasty team's aging quarterback. And that does not sound scary until you realize that the reason the star quarterback is even at the what is labeled an 8-time champion quarterback's like compound is because he was attacked by what is labeled as a deranged fan. This comes from Bloody Disgusting, the horror film website. He's attacked, hit in the head by a deranged fan, causes brain injuries. This is a star quarterback that's got pro level potential. Kind of brain injury, doesn't really know if he's going to come back. His idol, this 8-time champion played by Marlon Wayans, takes him into his compound and is like, what are you willing to sacrifice? And it becomes more and more unhinged as the trailer moves on, and it looks good. It looks like Jordan Peele. Yep. I know he didn't direct it, but it has that style.
It's produced by him.
Yes, so I'm excited to see where this goes. So continuing down, Fantastic Four, The First Steps. We had another trailer for that. We had another trailer for 28 Years Later. We had a trailer for The Roses, which was an interesting one for me. I saw this one. This one was on Empire Online. It stars Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch as a married couple going through relationship trouble. So the IMDb synopsis is, quote, a tinderbox of competition and resentments underneath the facade of a picture-perfect couple is ignited when the husband's professional dreams come crashing down. It just seems like a marriage story.
I was gonna say, hey, I've seen this one before.
Yeah. But the thing is that Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman are two of the best actors in the world. Yeah. Olivia Colman is so she's not really on American screens that often.
No.
But she is very, very well, she is well-rounded. She is a world-class talent. Watch Broadchurch. turn on the subtitles, get used to the accents. She is insane in Broadchurch. So once you see that, you'll know what I'm talking about. She nails every role she's ever done. And watch with this movie when this comes out, this show. So moving down the line, The Life of Chuck, excuse me, a Mike Flanagan adaptation of a Stephen King novel is what this trailer is describing for this film, I should say. So when you hear these two names, you think of horror and spooks. Mike Flanagan, the guy who did what was that spooky The Haunting of Hill House. Mm-hmm. He did The Haunting of Hill House, and Stephen King, the dude who makes the scary books, right? Like you hear those two names and you're like, oh. However, this film looks really sweet. Looks very honest. The IMDb synopsis is, quote, a life-affirming, gender-bending story based on Stephen King's novella about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz. Stars Tom Hiddleston, Karen Gillan, Matthew Lillard, Mark Hamill, and so many more.
What an odd cast.
I know.
That's just like a bunch, like names out of a hat.
Yeah.
It's like, who has been in the news lately? And we're getting, I don't know, the guys there, Tom, Matthew, and Mark, it's just kind of like, have they ever worked on stuff together besides?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's just like names. That, like I said, it's like, let's go with Matthew Lillard. Let's go Mark Hamill.
I'm going to guess that Lillard is Tom Hiddleston's neighbor. And the only reason I think of that is because in the trailer you see Matthew Lillard like out on the street. And so I'm just assuming that's his neighbor. We know Mark Hamill is his dad, is Tom Hiddleston's dad. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. And I don't know who Karen Gillan's playing. Doctor Who fame and more recently Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I don't know who or what she's going to do. Maybe probably Tom Hiddleston's love interest, but
interesting.
It'll be very interested to see where that goes. And lastly, we have a teaser for Weapons, and this one might be the spookiest teaser of them all. So 3 years after the making of Zach Krieger's directorial debut Barbarian, and after announcing Weapons as a film, we finally get this teaser trailer. We have zero story outside of what we've seen, but he released a 17-second or something to that effect, maybe 30-second teaser. And the way that it's painting the story is a number of children run out of their family home at 2:17 in the morning for no reason at all. In the way that they're depicting, the way they're advertising this, and it's so cool. This is why I'm so excited for this. You see them on CCTVs. Yeah, all these kids run out at the same time, running through their neighborhood towards something. You hear Josh Brolin's voice, who is one of the leads. I'm assuming he's a detective. And he says, what do you see that I don't? As he's watching the CCTV. And he's talking to parents, obviously, too, because he said something to the effect of, listen, if my kid ran out at 2:17 in the morning, I'd be scared too, but we have nothing to go off of.
Yeah.
And on top of it, because I saw this what's funny is I was looking for this trailer before it was dropped today because I saw it in the theaters yesterday.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I thought, oh, that's cool. Couldn't find it anywhere online, and I thought I had hallucinated for a second. And then all of a sudden, because the thing is, at that point when I was looking this morning, the only thing that was released was like 2-second clips of one of those CCTV like images, and I was like, where did I see? I heard Josh Brolin, and then and then later in the day they released it today, and I was like, oh, that I was in the theater, and that's why. So yeah, it seems really interesting. The film stars, as I said, Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, Brian Tyree Henry. And if you look up the cast, it says Pedro Pascal.
They buried him, if so, on IMDb.
But in IMDb, he's not on there. But on Google, he's on there. So
interesting. Benedict Wong. Wong's on there.
So I guess that's the thing is that like this, we have zero story. The coolest aspect of the marketing, they have a website.
Oh yeah,
Blair Witch style.
What is the website?
Maybrook. Hold on, I can look it up. But yeah, it looks really interesting, and it's describing as like an article entry, like a news type of outlet, and it's describing. And at the bottom, it's got like videos of CCTV images of these kids running away, and it links to another article to the story from Barbarian. And it's the same thing. It's another article of the story of what happened in his first film.
Dude. Look at this.
Maybrook News.
Look at this.
Yeah.
How much budget went into this?
Well, I think it's meant to be like older.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. That's what it gives.
We're looking at like borderline, dude.
It's so white. It's so
I'll describe it to you if I can't get the brightness to go down and show you a little bit.
There you
This
go.
is like generic looking HTML from early to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So this is what everybody was doing with their websites back in the day. 2 buttons, home and sign up. Header being Maybrook News, and it's just a headline from the news.
But
with
it's
videos
so
attached
scary,
embedded at the
dude.
bottom.
There's something so unnerving about seeing like a group of kids and knowing that they probably had no control, running with their arms extended and down.
Yeah, very triangular.
Yeah, all running like with purpose to the same destination, all on CCTV. No one knows where they went. No one knows why. At 2:17 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what this gives? I'll tell you. It reminds me of like, so last year when Longlegs and Cuckoo came out, very similar branding, very similar marketing. Both those films were disappointing for me. So I'm like, I get excited, man. I see good advertisement. I see good teasers, and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah.
But this has to hit. Barbarian's a little weird, but it was good. I hope this hits. I'll still be looking forward to this. Weapons.
Rated R.
Rated R. So we spent a lot of time on weapons, and I think I gave away which one I'm the most excited for with that. So
when a movie has a website, Ryan's on board.
give me the website.
Give me the website.
I feel like it's not even that like I find a movie interesting. If you have good marketing, I'm gonna be like, let me in that theater. like,
Well, I thought Sinners had good marketing, and then you were like, no.
No, the marketing was fine. It gave away too much. There's a difference.
Well, there's that. You'll have that nowadays. Market. That's what it is. We'll see so many reels, and it's just the entire movie
I'll tell you,
condensed to 30 seconds.
I was so excited for Longlegs because they had like a cipher.
Yeah.
And they had like a ticking clock. It was like interactive.
Yeah.
And that was why I was so excited. And this is doing a lot of the same.
Yeah.
Like a lot of interaction and a lot of whatever. So I'm like, I feel like I'm just like, for marketers everywhere, if you're wanting me to go, like if you're wanting my hard-earned dollars for whatever reason, with a $6 to $12 a movie ticket, all you got to do is like the keys to a baby and dangle like, oh, we have a website. Oh,
there's a puzzle.
Yeah, slightly interactive. And I'm like, like in theaters
God.
instantly. Like it's just, I'm realizing that about myself. I'm just, I'm there. I'm going to be watching this movie, and if it is ass, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm gonna be so mad.
He'd buy the popcorn bucket.
Nah, not that one.
You still haven't bought a popcorn bucket.
I need to talk to Jeff Bezos about my popcorn bucket idea.
I've forgotten. What is it?
It was the gun that shoots butter.
Oh man. All right. No, because I was also making pee jokes.
I know, and I'm moving past it.
Let's not get back into
but
that.
a gun. James Bond, but a gun.
Quotation marks, BUTTA. But a gun.
But a gun.
So you're most excited for weapons. What could it possibly be? If it's named weapons, it's got to be.
It's Ryan coded, is what it is. It's coded for me.
Okay.
I
mean, the kids are gonna have weapons. I mean, there's weapons have to be
They
involved.
are the weapons.
Nuh-uh.
You saw them T-posing.
You think they're just gonna run into shit?
I won't lie. If I'm out and about, like on a run, like and it's somewhat dark, and I look up and a kid is blindly running at me with their arms out like that, I would be terrified.
Oh.
It's so unnerving. The images too, the videos,
Yeah.
like they're very unnerving.
Well, there's something about low res
I mean, like,
frame rate. Yeah.
isn't that freaky?
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, I'm watching the videos right.
That one in particular really got to me. I don't know why. I'm getting chills down my spine as we
There's
speak.
2-second clips. There's one that's 14, but I won't watch it in front of y'all. But it's just like a kid running across the lawn or in front of a porch or whatever.
I don't know why it's so scary to me, but it genuinely is like, well, I guess once you like add in the story behind it, like it. Well, think about it like this. Even if there was no story behind it, and like, because, I mean, we have Ring. You know, we have Ring cameras.
Yeah.
If we saw a kid running like that in the middle of the night, no reason, would you not be...
Y'all want to know how to prank Ryan?
Dog! I
know?
would be petrified. I would never leave my house again.
Oh, man. He'd be...
The kids, they're out there.
Oh, man. So...
Zach Kreger. Ugh.
He knows how to get Ryan. He knows how to scare him. I don't know. I mean, that one is interesting. It's probably more thriller horror than I care to watch, but of all of them, that one it's just funny in general. But Fantastic Four, I have high hopes for that. I think it's gonna do well.
We got to see Julia Gardner as the Silver Surfer in that.
Yep, we did, and that's awesome because we saw Eddie or whatever's Eddie from Stranger Things, but it's
Joseph Quinn.
Joseph Quinn. You see him get knocked back down to earth in that trailer as well.
Yeah.
So that one I have high hopes for. I don't think that one's gonna flop near as hard as some of the other Marvel movies. Captain America, is it okay? Is it doing okay?
Talking about Brave New World?
Yeah, Brave New
I
World.
think that's stopped earning.
Did it stop?
I think it's officially dead. It might have earned like under $1 million.
But I wasn't. Yeah, just comparatively, I think it will do better. The last time it was winning was March 2nd. Yeah, several weeks ago. But
yeah, I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Yeah, no. So anyway, but yeah, I have high hopes for it. I think it'll do very well. Just because
Captain America made just over 100,000. Yeah. It is 21st.
100 million. Thousand. Oh.
100,000 in this
made
weekend.
This week.
Yeah.
It made 200.
It's made domestically it's made over 200 and internationally it's made 414 now.
Maybe it might be on par. I just think it'll be better received.
I think Fantastic Four will out earn Captain America easy.
Okay.
I think it will make 500 million in like 3 weeks.
So So and then Benedict Cumberbatch, I foresee that might have clippable moments because as always with marriage, the Marriage Story.
Yeah, Adam Driver yelling.
The Adam Driver yelling.
Scarlett Johansson
yelling, and just those clippable moments that capture the strife of life. There will likely be sad, mad, emotional Benedict Cumberbatch that captures the hearts of many.
There's never been a bad Benadryl Cabbage Patch.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, there's never been a bad film with him. Like genuinely,
I loved his Sherlock.
Dude,
I wish he'd do more Sherlock.
I'm pretty sure he's also in the next. Or if not this one, he was just in one. But Wes Anderson, didn't he? Isn't he in the next? Isn't he in the?
I thought he was in
the Phoenician Scheme.
No, it was the. Wes Anderson did a bunch of shorts recently. One of them being they thought like a poisonous snake crawled into his bed, and
he is in the Phoenician Scheme. Uncle Newbar is his name.
And that one's coming out soon.
Yeah,
soon.
Well, it's going to be at Cannes, the film festival. I don't think it's going to compete. It might compete. I don't know, but it's that's the next one for him. Pretty sure I saw him.
So, the Wes Anderson short,
Benicio del
Wonderful
Toro
Story of Henry Sugar.
That was what he starred in.
And then there was one called Poison that was 17 minutes, and it starred Dev Patel, Benedict Cumberbatch, Ralph Fiennes, and Ben Kingsley. So Ben Kingsley being the doctor, Ralph Fiennes, and then Dev Patel. I just love the way Wes Anderson tells the story, and Benedict sells it because he captures everything that somebody with a poisonous snake laying on his stomach in a bed would be like. He'd be sweating, he'd be irritable, he'd be and just the storytelling and the over the head shot of him just. I mean, this is the covers, right?
Yeah.
And he's just like this the whole time.
Yeah.
And all he can do is really talk, and he's just like.
Yeah,
I don't know. He gets angry. He gets sad. You want to capture emotion, but not move a muscle. Benedict captured that. He did it.
Yeah,
he everything that I thought I would be like.
He might be one of the best actors in the world.
He's up there.
I feel like we say something about that, like about one person or another every week, but Benedict might be that guy.
Well, you're never gonna really have the best of the best of the best because we're all human and no one's perfect. But there's a group of people that we believe earn a title stamped beyond the screen.
Yeah. Someone's got to go back and clip all those moments and make a compiled list of who we've said.
Definitively,
one of the best in the world. Yeah,
that list is pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I will say that I have one staunch opinion on actors and actresses. Okay. There is no better like producer of world-class talent than those who come out of the UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have a favorite character from a movie, more often than not, they're English, Scottish, or Irish.
Yeah, the accent pretty much just gets you in the door.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Let's think about this. Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland, Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
He not from the UK, but Chris Hemsworth is Australian.
Yeah.
Right? So let's see I'm trying to think of who else was from the MCU in particular that was from overseas.
Cavill's.
A lot of them. Henry Cavill. Yeah, well, he's from Britain. Yeah. But he's Superman, or was. The majority, the vast majority of the actors that you watch, they're from Idris Elba.
Ryan's not. Gosling's not.
No, he's very American. But
Jake.
No. Who?
Gyllenhaal.
He's American.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of actors that you love are probably British
No.
of some sort or English of some sort. And I stand by that. So like just looking at the list, Benedict Cumberbatch is also on that list.
Defoe.
Willem Dafoe.
I think Defoe's up there.
He is American.
I can't wait for that Wes Anderson movie. Stacked cast as always.
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah. I share a birthday with him.
No.
Yeah.
No one look up Bryan Cranston.
Yeah. You can. You don't know what year. Maybe you do. You might know.
I feel like it's not that hard to piece together.
You can probably go back in time and probably figure that out.
It's just simple. Like
you have to listen to all of our episodes. If you really want to know my birthday, do us a favor. Watch all our episodes.
And that is a great way before you continue to dox yourself. That's a great position to stop today's episode. If you liked, as always, give us a like, a comment, a share, follow, subscribe, do the whole nine. We thank you very much for taking the time to stick with us today. And we love you.
And we could do this together.
Yeah. Thumbnail. Oh,
thumbnail.
Yay. Okay. Perfect moment.
Love
all
you
right.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.